2 minutes. You on the thing. Yeah, that's fine. What's up? Good night. 5 o'clock. Thanks. And the red is on. The red is on. Let me make sure what's happening here. Seen some things here. Bam, 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 bam. Mic inside. Everybody inside. Hey, what's happening, people? We are here again once more. Another fine episode of this exciting Endeavouring Entrepreneurs series right here on Red, the business series. And those of you who missed it, we had some exciting people the last few days. We started off with Crystal McClatchy with Makeup by Chris. And we had Mr. Nigel Jordan with Twigs Natural. Then we had Mr. Adrian, the voice himself, Adrian, voice talent. And then we closed off last week with Mr. Samuel George, who is into construction, and a young filmmaker by the name of Kyron Jeffers. We had an exciting week last week. So let me just start the ball rolling good as ever. You know I like to drop it. So if you're liking what you're seeing, things happening nice, you like how the page going, you like how the channel going, you're getting information to help you feel free, please like, you know, click a little button, give us a little like and a little thing and a little share and let people know, hey, well, they have a nice thing going on this station called Red, you know, and they have a nice thing happening. And then you could also subscribe, you know, and just remember, you see that little bell, you know, click that little bell so you know when we live. Every time we go live, you get a little notification we are live. So right now we are live, and we have some 3 guests. You might be hearing a little mumbling, well, not mumbling, but you're hearing some little notes in the background because the microphones are open. But we have an interesting panel this evening. And I see one of them disappear. Where you going? Oh, right. Yeah, so we have an interesting panel this evening because, again, Endeavouring Entrepreneurs. And remember, the focus is education, firstly, inspiration, and motivation. So we're hoping to educate you, to inspire you, and to motivate you to probably start your own business. Or if you're already in business, hopefully to take things to a different level. And we already have people jumping in and giving some nice comments on the chat. So we say good day to Nick Loy. Good day, thank you for falling in. And we have Mr. Alexander Amadeus. Remember that tune? Amadeus. A big tune here. So you have Mr. Amadeus himself. On the inside, a lovely showing of new talented Caribbean people. Thank you. So let me introduce you to our guest one. I like to jump right in because today we had to cut it tight because we're on our mission this evening. And let me jump right into and introduce our guest to you. So we have firstly Mrs. Patrice James. Now Patrice is an entrepreneur. She's a serious businesswoman, very astute. But she's also, Patrice has a very unique story. She's also a mother of 3 who is doing her own homeschooling of 3 little girls. That's not easy. But Patrice is finding some ways to make that happen, being a very efficient mother at home, being a very productive and efficient wife. I want to make sure, let's see, very important. She's not reneging on her wifely duties or motherly duties at all. Make sure, let's see my finger. Yeah, she ain't reneging at all. And she's still a very powerful businesswoman on top of that. So Patrice, just say hello to the folks.
Hi, great to be here. Thanks, Eric, for having me on. Red.
Most welcome. None. Coming next, we have a young man. I'll try not to say too much about this man, but we'll get that information in due time. But again, a young man, again, another astute businessman. In this case, Mark is fully employed one way. He has a full-time job, but he also manages to run a very thriving private enterprise. He's an entrepreneur. So he's employed on one side and he's an entrepreneur on one side. So he's employed on one side, he's an entrepreneur on the next side. And so, ladies and gentlemen, this is Mr. Mark Manmohan. Mark, say hello to the people.
Good afternoon, everyone around the world.
Nice one. Nice. And rounding off the crew, this one very kind of special in more ways than one, which we won't get into at this point in time. But a very special guest I want to introduce you to, because at the end of the day, if you're talking business, you're talking money, you're talking finance. And in this climate that we're in, you're talking technology. So we have a very special guest, in the person of Mr. Ivan Mark, who is a Fintech consultant. Mr. Ivan Mark.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. It is so fantastic to be on this red situation right now that you are having, Eric. Please, it is an honor and privilege to be here. Can't wait for the discussion.
Yeah, man. Thank you, Ivan. And it's equally an honor to have you on the chat, on the call. So let's jump into the discussion. So, of course, Patrice and Mark are our main guests, and as we go along, we would bring in Ivan, who would add, different levels of value to the discussion. And Ivan and anybody, feel free to jump in at any point in time, interject. That is a discussion we have. Good. It's not really an interview; it's a discussion. Now, let me say this. In the States, they have the Fifth Amendment. Right? in the US laws, under their system, they have the Fifth Amendment. So if you're being asked a question and you feel you don't want to answer, you could plead the Fifth. So in this case, we don't have that law, but if I should ask you a question that you feel, Eric, feel free to plead the Fifth. It's not a problem. Right? So as I told all the guests, I asked everybody for just a brief bio of themselves, not the long extensive thing, because I didn't want to preempt. I don't want to know too much and ask obvious questions. So I want to be just as surprised as the guests to hear some of the answers. So that's why I just wanted basic information, which I do. And as we get into the discussion, we will have more insight. So, anybody want to say anything before we jump in? Things start. The ring active.
We ready?
Jamming.
We ready?
We ready. We ready and ready. Mark, you're supposed to have one ready, man. All right, so let's go. So Patrice, as I said, Patrice is a young mother. I wouldn't ask her age. We very, we have some decorum about ourselves. But Patrice is a very young mother with 3 very young, energetic, and pretty girls. She's a wife of one husband, whose husband only have one wife, right? So we had to make sure we had that, right? So, and we'll talk a little bit about the husband a little later on, because he's a very powerful world figure as well. Surprising, right? You didn't expect that from, a little Trini girl like that, husband world figure. Yeah. But Patrice, first off, What is your line of business? We'll come to the family part after because we know how the things interact. But you are an entrepreneur. You've been involved running your own business for the past 3, 4, 5, how much years? What are you involved in?
Well, first of all, there's so many different things, but just to make it simple, I currently am in charge of our Deal Shaker Trinidad and Tobago Limited, locally registered company, which supports the global brand of Deal Shaker, which is an e-commerce platform that integrates the one cryptocurrency. I hope I'm making it simple. One cryptocurrency as a form of payment. We are really a membership-based community, so there are members who own the one cryptocurrency, and so we encourage merchants. We find merchants to come on board who will accept that cryptocurrency, providing that opportunity for our members to use their ones.
Well, boy, based on what Patrice just said, I didn't realize we had to have a whole episode just to talk about this Deal Shaker thing and this one thing. And all. Yeah, because that is a whole lot. But what is interesting is at the heart of that, it is a whole entrepreneur sphere, if I should use that word. It caters for business people, which is amazing. And she is the Caribbean representative for this international body. Hey, this. And Mark, let me jump across by Mark. Let me jump across by Mark a little bit. So Mark, we just want the people to get to know you a little bit. What are you involved in? I read your bio, but I just want you to say it. I know you have your full-time job. Where do you work? What is your...
Well, I'm not sure what is the legal implication, so I'll just say for a large a medical company.
Okay, no problem. We could accept that. We could accept that. I know how it is. But on the other side, you have your own business as an entrepreneur. What are you involved in?
Well, it might be easier to tell you what I am not involved in. And to be honest with you, Eric, it's a discussion. It's been one of my challenges. Because anytime I see something looking good that is of value to me, I want to automatically share it with other people.
Serious
and
business,
if I can make money doing it, why not?
Yeah.
I shared with you my bio. My personal motto in life is simple: fall in love and share. So when I fall in love with something, I want to share it.
Okay.
So I'm in love with health and wellness. A few years ago, I found out about how powerful nutrition is. As opposed to Western medicine. So that's one of my passions. And because of that, I sell alkaline water. And I'm a proud merchant with Patrice as a member on her platform.
Okay.
Where I provide alkaline water.
Lovely.
And I'm also involved in an automated Forex business. But right now, I'm at a junction in my life where I really realize I need to focus. I believe in multiple streams of income, but the mistake I'm making is I'm trying to do all at the same time. So on a personal level, where I'm at right now is trying to be a little more concise and focus where I want to put my energies on that could benefit my network of people as well as myself.
All right. Interesting. And maybe this is a good part to bring in Ivan one time because you said, you want to do a whole heap of things, but you can't do all. You need to settle down. So maybe Ivan can now come in and let's start with giving some advice because I'm sure there are other people like you. And the thing is, they probably do genuinely have the skill to do 15, 20 different things. But obviously, we still only have 24 hours in a day. So it always comes down to management of your time and your resources and stuff. And so, of course, this is Ivan Mark, who is a Fintech consultant. And for those who don't know, Fintech is a merging of two words, financial and technology. So Ivan is involved in consulting people along the lines of using technology to manage their finance and that kind of thing. So Ivan, taking what Mark just said, that last bit of conversation, he wants to do so much things. How would you start by, let's say, advising other people who may have a similar challenge in business?
Well, again, welcome and thank you so much again. That is one of the main issues that a lot of entrepreneurs sort of have. And many of them think that they need to be involved in many things. And really and truly, the entrepreneurs that I know that are very successful, they focus. They have a tremendous ability to focus on one task at a time. So they focus, they build that out, and then they move on to something else. So when that one thing becomes very successful, then they move to other things. So what Mark is saying there, yes, he's at a crossroad because what he's seeing now is that he's growing as an entrepreneur. So he is reaching that tipping point where literally the thing that he loves the most, he would more or less focus a lot of his energy there. And then you'll start to see the success coming. Another thing that I would recommend for budding entrepreneurs is really to get a mentor. You need to be mentored in finding out exactly what needs to be done. Because many times, for instance, like when I went through my thing, I bounced my head a lot. I learned a lot. I learned what not to do. And then I could pass it on now to somebody else who is coming up. In 2005 or 6, I believe, we had a youth mentorship program going for entrepreneurship. And what we did there was actually take a youth under our wing and show them exactly some of the things that they need to do if they're thinking about going into business or if they're thinking about being an entrepreneur, because it is a lot of hard work. It is a lot of disappointments, a lot of failures that you would get. But with the correct mentorship, you could actually make it because you have someone to guide you, to hold your hand and guide you. What I'm doing right now is, because my motto, just like Mark, is that continued value is demanded. That is my motto. So you need to be always valuable. And in a world where things are moving so quickly, if you do not continue to add value, you find yourself out very quickly because something else or some other person will come and fill that void very quickly. It's not like long time. It's not like long ago. So what I do is try to keep people abreast of what is taking place in the world, because we no longer could just look at the local scenario. We have to look at the global scenario. And people don't understand that your competition is not your neighbor. It is not the person that sits next to the desk in your work. Your competition is somebody in Singapore. Your competition is somebody in Vietnam. So you have to prepare for the 21st century on a global scale. So what I try to do using the Fintech platform is to bring that reality to a lot of the clients that I have. And that's it. And educating, of course, is one of the main things. They need to be educated for 21st century and really come away from the hangover of the 20th century. And that's basically all I do. I consult and literally help people make that transition.
All you hear that after all our demand, they say basically all that, basically, all that big work, and you want to say basically, but that's serious talk. That's serious talk. I just want to say hello to a few people. We have Nicolai again saying good job, Mark. Mark, like you work with your cheering team, boy. I don't understand. Look at next one. Hey, Mark. Mikhail Baines. Hey, he's a good friend of mine, Mikhail. What's happening, buddy? Nice one, too. Somebody saying, hi, Uncle Mark. You see what I mean? Zion Melvin. Mark, you work with your team, but that's good. So, Ivan, thank you very much for that. So, I want to shift things again because you said some very important things. You spoke about the global concept, and you spoke about how Fintech is tied in globally. So I want to jump back to Patrice because I know this Deal Shaker project, it is global, and of course it is technology based. So it ties in directly with what Ivan just shared. So could you tell us a little more about that? And what prompted you? Why did you decide to go down that road?
Now that's a beautiful question, Eric.
Yeah, you plead the fifth though.
No. Open conversation.
Yeah.
As I mentioned ecosystem before, so the Deal Shaker is actually one part of the ecosystem that we are, a part of, which is a global concept, as you said. And it initially started off as me seeking the education. As Ivan said, it's important to be educated on what you're involved in. And so in 2016, we came upon this organization by the name of One Academy, One Life, and it started off with the education. I didn't understand anything in the beginning, and so upon educating myself on this whole fintech concept, tying in finance and technology, like what was cryptocurrency in the first place? It sounded like something in the air, something you can't touch. upon educating myself, realize now how much of a jewel that we really had when we, brought on the deal shaker as part of the ecosystem, and not just being a local concept where we just have merchants locally, but the idea of being borderless. So as Ivan is saying, your competition nowadays is not, well, of course, we believe your competition is yourself, but when you're talking about business and advancement, your competition now is you're playing a wide playing field, the global scope of things. So being involved with the deal shaker, knowing that we are global, but not really knowing the power of what we're really working with. So on Saturday, that was 2 days ago. My days mix up because I did 10 hours straight of production, joining with these countries. We managed to, out of 194 countries, to get 50 or so countries together to showcase their merchants, just like Mark is a merchant, to showcase their merchants in those countries, and the merchants now showcasing their deals. So you understand now the power. We have some people not speaking English, so they don't understand you. You have to use Google Translate, and it really gave me a joy to know that, you're in theory, we knew what it was, but in practical, really bringing these countries together. And I believe that is very important, and that's what we are doing. I'm seeing my friend Nicole on the screen. Thanks, Nicole, for the support. But what we are doing is really giving people an opportunity to use a currency, which is money, our one, no matter where you go in the world. So I pick up and go because I love to travel. I pick up and go to Romania. Whenever the borders are open, I can use this one currency globally.
I like. Yeah. Oh, of course. Yeah. I like how she said that. I just pick up and go. Just pick up and go. Yeah.
By the grace of God.
I like that. I like that. Mark, I'll comment to you just now. I want to go back to Ivan a minute. Ivan, what has been the response from people when you reach out to them? Of course, I know some people would come to you, obviously, because they recognize what you have. They know your background and so on. So they would come to you for that advice. But have there been a situation where maybe you spot something and you sought to volunteer to give counsel, and you see somebody in business, you see them making some missteps, so you say, let me step in and see how I could help? Have you encountered that? And if so, what has the response been?
Yeah, well, that is something that you encounter on a daily basis. Once you're outside here, once you're doing your job, you will encounter these things. The key element here is that people have to want to change. And that is one of the main things that we do. What we do is try to let them see the need for them to change so that they make that decision. Once we do that, they more or less make that transition, and they are happy that they do it, because what they do is get the results almost immediately. So they now have been opened up to a whole different clientele that they would not have been exposed to normal circumstances. So people need to understand that, yes, everything is trending in that digital forum. Everything is going that direction. So one of the things that from the time I consult with someone, I go back in their history, find out exactly what they have done up to this point in time, get the results that they're having today. If the results is lackluster, then you know that you need to change, because doing the same thing expecting a different result is, that's how they say, the proverbial madness. So literally, you give them an option for them to really, and all entrepreneurs want to see one or two things. They want to see growth. So they need to see growth in their business, and they need to see that they are reaching new, they are bringing in new things. So they're not being kept still. Before, rebranding used to be probably 11 years, 12, 13 years you rebrand. Now that is cut in half. So that for you to stay relevant, as I said before, this is what we do. It allows you to come with something new to offer to your clientele, and to make it easy for them to transact business, which is what everybody wants now. Everybody wants the ease of transacting business. And once you make it simple, once you make it easy, and once you make it reliable, people generally are warmed up to it. So that's what we basically do. But every day we meet people like that. Every day you meet also people that give you that resistance because they don't understand. And this is where it's keen to educate in the right way. And once you allow them to let that education or that new information sink in, they realize what they've been missing.
Wow. Yeah, man, I feel like I in school here. I set up this thing. I feel like I in school because I learning some stuff here through this process. Hey, I really want to thank you guys for coming on. But I want to jump across by Mark. Mark, you are the unique one in the bunch because Patrice has her full-time business with Deal Shaker and other stuff. Ivan has his full-time business as a fintech consultant. But you have both. You have a full-time job, but you also have your business. I won't call it a side business. I don't like to use that term. It's a business. You own a business. You have a job, but you also own a business. First question, why? Why haven't you gone, why haven't you stuck with one? Why didn't you just say, all right, I have a job, it paid me good, I'm good with that. Or leave the job and start a business. Why the two?
Very good question. And I will tie it back to what Ivan was saying about education. When I went to school, I was told, you get your A-levels, O-levels, get a degree, get a good job. And that's what we were taught in school. And after school, I know that, before I go there, back in school, we had something called Career Guidance Day. I don't know if you remember that, Eric, back in your days as well.
Yep.
Career Guidance Day, they'll tell you the different types of jobs that they have in the market. So we thought we had to choose a job to survive. What I didn't realize was that a job was just a way of making income.
Yeah.
There were many different ways to earn income. And thankfully, through education with Robert Kiyosaki, locally I was introduced to guys like Barry Thomas, Dr. Michael Pounder. And I found out that you don't have to work for money all your life. You can have money work for you.
Correct.
And that clicked because I love time freedom. And I am, if I may say this, proactively lazy. So I don't mind working hard now if I could reap the rewards later on. I'm a very proactive. I try to be a proactive thinker and put systems in place. So the reason why I started to start business is because I wanted to have my money work for me rather than I work for money. It just seemed so much smarter and easier way to be. And I actually tasted it, Eric.
Yeah.
I tasted it. I was able to retire at age 31, thankfully to an online business that I was doing. And I tasted retirement at half the age of most people.
Lovely.
And I learned that retirement had nothing to do with money, with age.
With age, correct.
It had to do with money.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
But I was young and I was stupid. I did not I learned from my mistakes.
Yeah.
And so I had to get back into the job scenario. And that will answer your second question. Why I still have a job is because I've learned my lessons. And I've learned that before you leave your job, you need to have certain fixed assets in place and not just depend on something you do not own. Because I've learned that if you do not own it, you cannot control it. And I was selling products for another company that I did not own. Things didn't go as we would have liked. And I learned that I should have used that, such apartments and the likes. That is all through education. I really want to emphasize the education, as Ivan was saying about education. Educate yourselves. I would advise everyone follow. The most I could do is share what I learned, and which is I wrote a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. I'd recommend that book, Rich Dad, to anyone as a great way to start off. And to let you all know, the local cash flow club in Trinidad that teaches Robert Kiyosaki principles. So, we can get some more information about that, but get educated.
Yeah. Mark, you said something there. Go ahead, Ivan, you wanted to add something. Go ahead.
Yeah. Some of the things that Mark said is very key, especially in the field of entrepreneurship. Because a lot of times people make the mistake of not getting all the information or all the whole outlook on something. And what they do is that eagerly they let go of their job they let go of something that is more or less paying the bills and keeping everything at bay, and try to go headlong into it before actually realizing what everything entails. And that's a common error that we try to keep modern entrepreneurs from making that mistake. The same amount of funds that you basically have in your job, what you try to do is try to build that base through the profit mechanism somewhere else while you still have that. And once your profit is meeting or can take care of your expenses, then you make the transition. So that is a common error that a lot of people make. So they may realize it very quickly, but because their way of operating, they have not grown as an entrepreneur, so they cannot maintain it, and they end back up in certain things, and they more or less make a couple steps back. But it's a learning process. So many times they have to learn that way in order to become successful, as I said also before.
Thank you. Mark, you really work with your chairing team, boy. But that's good. No, but Mark said something there that I never saw it like that. Retirement is not about age, it's about money.
Yeah.
That was such a eye-opening statement. Serious. That's something to print. Mark, you had to print that, make a little meme. Mark Manmohan, and that's yours. No, I never heard it so before, but it makes so much sense. Yeah,
and it's what Mark's saying, that retirement figure was given to us.
Exactly.
So we have that. So that wasn't, and a lot of entrepreneurs that done well for themselves in their 20s. Robert Kiyosaki was a millionaire by the time he was 25. All right. A lot of those entrepreneurs didn't put age as a factor to retire. They just know that they wanted to have that free time to do whatever they wanted to do, regardless of the age. But become positioned in with this 60, 65-year retirement. That don't have to be our reality. It doesn't have to.
Yep. Like I always say, you can't make an informed decision without correct information. So, Mark, thank you for that. Mark, how much had to pay for the advice, boy? Again, that free?
Well, boy, you're charging the same amount I paid for the advice. I got it free fast.
Thank you. We have some more comments coming in. Again, hi, Brother Mark. Very good advice. And yes, thank you, Joyce. Very good advice indeed. This one from, I've seen TTDF, so I know that means Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force. And I've seen the flag and what so. Mark is really making sense. Mark is making serious sense. I want to jump across now a little bit to Patrice again, because here we have, and you realize the different scenarios. So we have somebody who have a full-time job but still manages to run a thriving business. And here we have a point. This way, right? This way. So now we have this lady here who is a full-time mother and wife, homeschooling her children, and still runs a Caribbean leg of an international business. Boy, all you feel is jokey people here. Patrice, in preparing this project, I've come across with a number of women who cite that same issue about being a single mother. Well, in this case, you're not single, you have a husband. But being a single mother, or even just being a mother, having to take care of the children, and still running a business. Give us some insight into that, and what would you tell mothers who having that struggle? Well, I call it a struggle because they seem to be struggling with it. But you seem to be coping very well.
Well. I listening to them talking about Mark and Ivan talking about retiring. And for me, I just have to do what I love because I have no retirement. I am still, very much, for want of a better word, dependent on even my mother, being there for advice. So that's a job that never really, you don't retire from that, while you're on this earth. So for me, it's basically what I do. 90% of what I do is being a mother. My children are very aware of that. I put that first. I take that very, very seriously. And the challenge where you would see a lot of mothers, single mothers who are married, all mothers face, is that there is a lack in some cases. I want to be very careful of appreciation to for what a mother does. And when I say a lack of appreciation, we appreciate mothers, but it is not seen as an income generating job or task, while it is a full-time task. So if you have an entrepreneur who is a mother, in my case, momtrepreneur, I would decide some days, that I want to just be a mother, especially homeschooling my children. I might be falling back a bit because I did a couple meetings or whatever, and I want to just be a mother. And there's that guilt sometimes of, this is not really bringing in income. So it's important to have the support around you that, they appreciate what you do and see it as a team effort. Even for the single parents, your children see it as a team effort. We're all working together to ensure that at some point what you are doing, the value that you are giving, is bringing income to the table. It might not be directly attached to the income, but it's bringing. So that's just one of the challenges. But for me, managing, people say I manage it well. I just try my best to put God first. A lot of my inspiration, a lot of what I thrive on is from the scriptures, from that foundation my mother growing us up in Christ, and really, embedding in us that, you could do all things through him. So even when I'm on my last, I would lie down on the ground with a smile and just have my children around me and find joy in that.
All really amazing. Just want to say hello to some people here. We have some people locked in and giving some nice positive comments. We have Zion Melville, Michael Bays, Nick Loy, Tonya Nelson, Sharon Hernandez, Nicole Green, Bernard Guerrero. I don't wrong it off because he spoke some Spanish there, so I you gotta say it proper. Bernard Guerrero. Yeah. Nadia Hewitt, Raul. Raphael Joyce, and of course our people from the TTDF. I'm not sure WIFAF. I'm not sure what that means, but I know the TTDF. I know what that means, right? So you want to say thanks to you guys for logging on, and nice positive comments and very encouraging. I want to jump across again to Ivan. Ivan, 2020, COVID-19, lock we down, but people still have bills to pay. You still have business to run. You've had to find money somewhere, somehow. We're talking to business people in the first instance here. What are some of the key things you would want to let somebody know in dealing with this COVID scenario from a fintech consultant position? Yeah.
First of all, they have to look at the systems that they have running right now. See if it makes sense in an environment like this. Once they come to terms with that, then a course must be charted of how to change those systems parallel. So you have one system, but you now have to adopt another system and run it parallel and really make that transition in increments. So they literally, COVID is a unique situation. And that, yes, the world economy, and I have to take it in this context that the world economy is basically now being affected tremendously by COVID. Now, it has been suffering, you could say, for a long time. What COVID did was act as a catalyst to bring forward something that is inevitable, and that is basically the crash of the financial system. Now, business-wise, what someone has to do is literally understand that and get some solution that is more or less technology based, in the sense of transactions, because people really are scared to even handle money. So you need to have a really strong transfer platform, that you are a robust platform. So that's one of the things for you to do business. The second thing that you must look at is the type of logistics that literally has to be employed, because your logistics have to change with the environment of going online. Many times when you look in businesses, and I'm speaking about even some well-known businesses, when you look at their website, when you look at their e-commerce platform, for instance, it is lacking tremendously. it is not in terms and in this kind of the 21st century. It is still lacking. They're still looking at the brick and mortar. Now, a lot of businesses may have been making that transition, but now with COVID, they have to make that transition quicker. And what we try to do is literally show them how they can do it with that same ease and simplicity that really disrupt their business. Because many times, if you go, for instance, to the accounting department and you tell them you want to bring in this new account, accountants hate that. They would try all how to keep their system in a particular way. So that is just one hurdle. The other hurdle is knowing exactly when is the right time to do what you have to do. And that timing is very critical. So in light of what is happening with COVID, what we have found is that people need to really adapt to that digital world and get the space, position themselves in the digital world in order for them to survive. If they do not, they will become obsolete. So we have had people in COVID still existing, still making money, and even expanding because they have now switched to that digital. Yeah. And again, it's not looking at a local scenario, but a global scenario. So in COVID, yes, it's a life, but you need to make that transition, and you need to make it speedily. We are not any reach as yet, so our business should really hold on to this boat.
Yeah, man. We are the mercy of the internet here, so we have a little dropouts now and then. But that's all right. We will survive. This COVID they go mash up. Listen, Ivan, some serious, powerful information coming out there. And see, Ivan is talking about in the midst of all of this, there are still ways. And I just want to show you this quick. This is Ivan's wife, Michelle. And between them, they actually run a very, very powerful fintech consultant agency. And right now, for instance, Ivan is here talking with you, giving you advice. And here is his wife conducting a Forex, foreign exchange course. You know, that's the level we're talking about. So when Ivan says, you know, talking about making the shift and how things can still be possible in the midst of COVID, this is just one. And this, of course, you see everybody very obedient. They have their mask on and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, listen, I tell people simply, there's always choice. You always have choice. There is no such thing as you don't know what to do. But even if you don't know what to do, that's why we have people like Ivan and Michelle, his wife, and Patrice and Mark and others who have been doing it. Get advice. Get counsel. Don't sit down and say, I don't know what to do. And you have people around you who could show you what to do. So really, we have no excuse. We really have no excuse. Ivan, I know you have to leave just now. Yeah. So before I go back to Mark and Patrice, I just want to bring you back just to give a few last words and tell us about, this Forex. A lot of people know, I realize a lot of people don't even know the word Forex. They don't even know what that means, Forex.
Yeah, there are a lot of...
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, there are a lot of misconceptions about the Forex platform. Early to be in finance, it was something of the, and it was very scary because when you open a lot of it, didn't have the platforms that we have right now. But it looks intimidating. And what we try to do at the one Forex, so it is you saw there with the classes, what we try to do is actually give you it in simple. We try to make it as simple as possible for you. We have people who have retired and literally have learned to trade within 5 to 6, literally. Wow. We have the classes. We actually on our anniversary right now, 1 year teaching the classes. And it is really, again, I feel proud because we have students who can actually teach a class, coming up, having no education or anything like that, experience with Forex.
Awesome.
And having sat in the class, to now teach the class as well.
Awesome.
Making it and keeping it very simple.
Awesome.
So we have a lot of testimonies coming out from it. And again, this was done because when I saw what happened in Haiti, I think it was last year or sometime, they had another storm or something like that. And I realized, no, not Haiti, Bahamas. And I realized that at the times the banks were closed, right? The banks, everything basically were closed. So no one could have gotten any sort of money to transact business. And they had literally no jobs to be had. I said, you know what? You must have something that in case even of that natural disaster, that you could open up your laptop because they still had internet connection. You could have gotten juice from somewhere to charge your laptop. And would you believe you could have made money trading still? So that inspired me to really start to have these classes. So I spoke to a very good friend who literally was trading for about 10 to 12 years, who has this thing down to science. And that person made all the difference. And he more or less partnered with me. And we decided to have the Forex classes. And I'm glad that we did. I think it's adding tremendous value because we're seeing people who actually came in the class or was there stuck. They're literally pounding the doors now to come back because they realize that, listen, we can make money at home, just trading, doing, and you're talking about just doing 20 minutes a day, 20 minutes twice a week, and that's it. You could literally make your income from that. But before I leave, I thank you so much for having me here. And I'd just like to leave these few words to really embrace the true essence of entrepreneurship. One must become a good salesman. One must also do very well with people, understand people. Emotional intelligence is one of the key things. And one must have laser-like focus. And once you have that, and you must also be a reader, an avid reader, so that you could grow. Because if you make money and your growth is not in line with the money that you make, you would lose it again. So you need these 4 elements in order to be successful in being an entrepreneur. All right. So with that, I leave you guys. I thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ivan Mark. Thank you, Ivan Mark. You see, good counsel, good advice. I tell her in school, boy. Yeah, boy. Hey. So let me just say another round of hellos. Again, I got some good advice for me. Jafia Melville, thank you. We have Wendy Simmons, and Wendy Simmons says great advice from everyone. We have Sherry and Charles. Hi, some good points being made. Thank you all for joining in. Thank you for logging on the stream. We have Deborah, Subran, Mark again, Mark and his chair and crew. But this is good. This is good. This is good. So, Ivan, we want to say thanks to Ivan Mark and, of course, to his partner, Michelle Mark, because she's holding on the fort one way, freeing him up to be able to come here. And because they usually work as a team, they go by the name Ivan and Michelle, So, we want to say thanks to both of them for making the time, one way or the other, to be able to contribute to this forum. Thank you again, Ivan. Until next time.
Yes, thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, man. I had to do a session and just bring back Ivan and Michelle. Because listen, let me tell you, the first time I heard them talk, I said, nah, they're making this money thing sound too simple. Because we just overstress it. We just overthink the process. But when I heard them explain certain things, it's really so easy and true, right? And between them, they have like about 30-something years combined in that whole financial arena, insurance and banking, all kind of things. So when them talk, I listen. Because I was just a policeman on a government salary, that is it. But I used to have to go to people like them for advice. What to do with my money. And so, again, hello. So we'll bring them back. Ivan and Michelle, we'll bring them back sometimes. All right, so let me jump back now. Right. Thank you, Ivan. Patrice and Mark. Let's get down to some more business. So, I want to ask this question, particularly of Mark, but Patrice, you too, in a sense, because I know before going down this road with Deal Shaker and whatever other business, you would have been employed somewhere. You had a job somewhere. So here's my question. If that job you have or had was paying you the kind of salary that you could have lived comfortably, as Patrice said, you just ups and go. You know, you had the money from the job, so you just feel the ticket, you just buy a ticket and you travel or whatever. If the job allowed that, would you still have gone the route of establishing your own business?
Yes!
Why?
because of what I've learned through the education, Eric. In COVID times, we saw it. You know, things that we spoke about in meetings, we heard in presentations and seminars and so on, whiteboards and projectors. We actually lived it and saw it in COVID. Good friends of mine in high positions, managers, high positions in companies, their boss told them, take sick leave and then stay home until this thing eases up.
Wow.
You know, it was a rude awakening for a lot of people that your job is just you're living paycheck to paycheck, and it could be put away from you anytime. As I said earlier, if you don't own it, you don't control it.
Yeah.
So it's good to have a backup plan, right? You drive your car with 4 tires. I mean, you have a spare tire in the trunk. So I would definitely still start a business.
All right, Patrice, what about you?
Yeah, for me, I learned that your job, you know, it could provide you a living, and you're always at the mercy of someone else business plan, the way their business, you know, functions. So at any point, you know, you could not be employed. So you have to try to remember that. Some people say I have a secure job. I don't know what that is. However, and nothing is wrong with a job, don't get me wrong, as we rightfully heard from Ivan Mark, you know, you stay there until you build enough or learn enough, because I learned a lot working in the insurance industry, working in accounting departments. I learned a lot. But back on point, what I was saying is your job earns you a living, but you know that business or whatever entrepreneurship adventure you get involved in could bring you a fortune. And it teaches you so much. However, the education is important. Don't just say, I hear that on the Red Show and I jump out. You know, I leave in my job, or I just going to start another business. You have to make sure you're very well educated on what you are doing.
For me, when I decided to get into business, I was actually a full-fledged police officer. Decent salary, you know, decent salary. But I always believed in that, to put it like how somebody put it last week, having my own. There's something about having my own. I don't mind having the job. The job paying nice. Okay, I give them 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours, whatever. You give me a check at the end of the month. But there's something about having mine that I could manage the way I want, how I want, that I could move when and how I want, why I want. Just that. To me, that gives a certain amount of mental freedom. You know, and of course, if you work it currently, it could give you other freedoms, real practical freedoms that, again, you could travel, you could eat where you want, sleep where you want, all your thing, but you have to work for that. You know, I think one of the things the job scenario does is create a kind of a mental comfort zone. So, you know, you go there, you give them 8 hours, and you know how much giving them sometimes is really 3, because 5 hours you're skiffling all over the place. But because in your mind you went to work, you gave them 8 hours, and you're waiting on your pay at the end of the month. So it's a kind of comfort zone, because as these guys will tell you, as an entrepreneur, if you really decide to push it, you have no sick leave.
And with a mindset like that, mindset of just giving 3 hours, you're not ready to jump out and do your own thing, you know, because you do the same thing when you have your own business. Exactly.
And that's what I was coming to, because there are no sick leave, there are no casual leave, there are no vacation leave. Why they getting paid? Because the day you don't work, there's no money coming in. You know, and when others do the 8 to 4 and then they're home watching TV 5 and 6, sometimes 8, 9, 10, you still on your job, on your business. You know, that's how it is at times. But to me, the rewards. Go ahead, Mark.
One of the rewards, as you was talking about, with why we will still want to start a business versus a job, I want you to focus on the camera and tell me if you see this.
Let me see. Let me get it right there. Hold on. Turn a little bit. Passive income movement. Boom.
It's all about passive income.
That's it.
It's all about passive income, Eric. The ability, as Patrice was saying, she does not retire from being a mother. So sometimes our passion may not be our job.
Yeah.
And the money is not about money, but it's about time freedom to do what we really enjoy. And as I was telling you, I retired at age 31 for a period of time. I didn't do it properly. And I tasted passive income. And you know what I did, Eric? I still had my same car, my same lifestyle. But I used that time to help some people go to the hospital, go and visit people, start some football with the young men, do things I really wanted to do. You know what's one of the problems with people when they retire, Eric? They have no clue what to do between 8 and 4.
Correct, that's right.
And we saw it happen.
Quite correct.
We saw it happen during COVID. People were home with COVID and they were bored on Facebook. They're like, what to do?
And I was so comfortable.
Me too.
Yeah. All right, so let's wind down because we're almost at the top of the hour and we want to make sure and release everybody by 6. So, here is a young person, older person, middle-aged, whatever, somebody who is interested, we want to start. They listen to all this nice talk and they say, yeah, boy, I think I want to start my little old business somewhere. Or maybe they're already in business, but things probably wasn't going that well, but they decide now, I feel like I will go at it at 10 time, at 11 time, at 12 time, because I feel like I get to work. What advice could you give? Your closing words to a young entrepreneur in business or somebody who is thinking about getting into business? Your final words.
I would say definitely make sure that you're doing something that you love. If you're looking at doing something extra, well, of course, with the first, not jumping out from your job. If you have a job right now, not just jumping out from that. We've said that many times, make that clear. But make sure it's something that you love and that you could even be passionate about. Make sure that you're well educated on the subject. Do as much research as possible. Make sure you're educated. Speak to people who are involved in that industry before you decide to jump out. And one of my favorite quotes is, personal development is the driving force of, everything I do, is the reason why I'm even successful in the little bit of success that I have. Make sure that you take personal responsibility. If you make errors, if you make wrong decisions, take that personal responsibility. I say for things to change, you always have to change. So ensure that you are always developing you. Nobody else could answer for you. You have to answer for yourself. So that's just basic.
Pure awesomeness. Mark, final words.
Eric, you want me to add to what Patrice just said?
Well, if you could. Put your own twist in it.
I just want to say I'm very proud of Patrice. Full-time wife. Patrice. Full-time wife, mother, and also on the Deal Shaker, you're welcome. She answers promptly when I need to get stuff done on the Deal Shaker, and it's amazing. I really thank you for that, Patrice, very much. Advice for a new entrepreneur, Eric? I'll give a twofold, natural and spiritual. Spiritually, I will tell them, get in touch with your maker. Let him guide you. I'm a Christian, and we say seek ye first, and seek ye first the kingdom of God. So talk to God, whoever God is for you. Seek God in your life and let him direct you where is the best place to go. And from a natural perspective, I will say this. Educate yourself as much as possible. And I think the best place to start, anybody who never did business before, and I know this may seem as a foul word, network marketing. It is the best place for somebody to start off with. It's a very low income to get involved, very low risk. You have the mentorship. Once you're with a proper team, as Ivan said, you'll have the mentorship. And as Patrice said, get behind a product that you are passionate about and you can share with others. That'll be my advice for a new entrepreneur.
Thank you. And I'm glad you ended up on that word because I plan to do a session on network marketing because I realize it's something a lot of people misunderstand. They get tired with words like pyramid and Ponzi and have no idea what they're talking about. None. They lost. You know, so
Okay.
I want to do a session with that because I realize
I want to
again,
be there. I want to be
no problem, no problem. And I say, you could never make an informed decision without correct information. So obviously, if your concept is wrong, you'll be thinking and you'll be making all kind of wrong decisions and not even realizing how much you're denying yourself. You know, simple things. For instance, as I said in some other forum, if you have a cell phone in your pocket, guess what? You belong to a network. You have an Amazon account to go up and shop, you belong to a network. You have cable in your house, you belong to a network. In so many different ways, you understand? You go and vote for a party, guess what? It's a network you belong to. You know, we involved in networking at so many different levels that we don't understand it. Simple thing at one of my shipping company, the company that I ship with, they have a process where if I refer somebody to them and that person signs up and takes a skybox, I get $100 off on my next shipping. Guess what? That's network marketing.
Marketing.
Simple like that. And we don't even understand how we involve in it every day. And in many cases, we're not getting rewarded for it. Because you see this phone, somebody had this phone on Facebook. As, oh, good! Only watch this. And you go and post it to your 5,000 friends. And you just gave that person 5,000 sales. And you ain't get a cent. You just did free network marketing for somebody. But when somebody doesn't get paid, you have a problem with it. Education. Education. Yeah, you understand? I understand.
Interesting
So,
topic. Interesting
yeah, we
topic.
had to go there. We had to go there because a lot of people losing out on some serious opportunities because they're misinformed and they're malinformed. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for Red. Patrice, no, wrong way. Right. Patrice, Mark.
Let me point up.
Patrice and Mark, thank you very much for jumping in. It is exactly 6 o'clock. Thank you very much for jumping in on the discussion today. This was very enlightening. I honestly learned some good stuff today. I had to go and recheck some stuff and make sure I have certain things in order. Mark, we really had to frame that. When I finish, I'm going to think it. Retirement is not about age, it's about money. If I didn't learn nothing here this evening, go with that. Go with that. So you waiting until you reach 50, 55, 65 to retire, and you might very well have the capability to retire now at 40. We hold on them 10 years to do what? To give them what? Education. Folks, this is where we shut it down on Red. Again, we want to say thanks to Patrice and Mark and Ivan for gracing us with their presence. We had a fantastic show. As I said again, you're liking what we do, and I'm sure people like, because I've seen all the little likes and people, the comments and that kind of stuff. So feel free to just share it with your friends, share it with your family, share it with anybody you could think about. And of course, please subscribe to the channel and just hit that little bell, clicking, so you know when we live. And tomorrow, this is actually episode 4. We're going for 9 episodes. Tomorrow, please God, episode 5, we have 2 very interesting people in the education fields. One resides in Trinidad, one is a Trinidadian who resides in the States and is doing some powerful things out there. So you don't want to miss tomorrow. You don't want to miss tomorrow. So that's it for me, and I locking down one other episode of Red, down in the bag. See you guys tomorrow, please God, 5 o'clock.